If you've ever seen a picture of Bali, you felt it. That just incredible sense of harmony. The temples, the homes, all the pavilions, they don't just sit on the landscape. They feel like they grow right out of it. But this isn't just about beautiful design. Nope. It's a language, a sacred blueprint with this deep, hidden logic that connects every single building to the entire universe.
So let's just dive right into that question, because believe me, it's not just some poetic idea. It's the fundamental rule of Balinese architecture. Every single structure, from the most humble kitchen to the grandest palace, is designed as a microcosm, a perfect little miniature of the whole cosmos.
Okay, so how can a building be a map of the universe? Well, to get that, we first need to understand the map itself. And for the Balinese, the cosmos, and I mean everything in it, is structured around one magic number, 3.
This whole idea is called Triloka. You've got Swa at the very top, that's the high, sacred realm of the gods and ancestors. Then, in the middle, you have Bua, that's our world, the world where we live. And down below is Buher, the underworld, home to spirits. So you get this perfect vertical stack, gods, humans, spirits. High, middle, low. Simple, right?
And here is where it gets really fascinating. They take that cosmic map and apply it directly to every single building. This principle is called Trianga. I want you to think of a building as a living body. The roof, the Utama, that's its head, the most sacred part. The walls and posts, the Madhya, that's the torso. And the base, the Nista, well, that's its feet, connecting it firmly to the earth and, that lower realm.
Okay, this slide right here is where it all just clicks into place. Look at that top row, the high, sacred realm. You've got Svara, the world of the gods, which lines up perfectly with the Utama, the roof, and of course the human head. Now check out the middle row. Buhua, our world, corresponds to the Madhya, the walls, the building's torso. And finally the low realm, Bur, the underworld, aligns with the Nista, the base or the feet. This incredible three-way parallel, universe, building, body, is the absolute foundation for everything in Balinese design.
So we've got the vertical axis down, from the gods all the way to the underworld. But that's only half the story, right? The horizontal layout, how space is organized on the ground, is just as important. And for that, you need a kind of spiritual compass.
In Bali, you can pretty much forget north, south, east, and west. The two directions that really matter are Kaja and Kelod. Kaja means toward the mountains. That's the sacred home of the gods. Kelod means toward the sea, and that's the realm of impurity, where potentially dangerous forces hang out. So everything, and I mean everything, is oriented on this one axis. Kaja is sacred, Kelod is profane.
And this isn't just some vague idea, it's all laid out in the Nawa Sangha, this 9-direction spiritual compass you're seeing here. Every single direction has its own deity, its own color, its own power. And this isn't just theory, it's a practical blueprint for life. Entire villages are laid out on this Kaja Kelod axis. You'll always find the most important temple, the one for the village founders, at the sacred Kaja end. And the temple of the dead? Well, that's always down at the impure Kelod end.
All right, so we have a cosmic blueprint and a spiritual compass. But what about the actual measurements, the scale? Well, this is where it gets incredibly personal. Because in Bali, a building isn't just for you. In a way, it is you.
Yeah, there are no standard meters or feet here. No way! Instead, the architect uses units that come directly from the body of the head of the household. Get this, the Deepa is the owner's arm span. The Hasta is their forearm. The Musti is their fist. They take these measurements, mark them on a bamboo stick, and create a totally unique ruler for that one specific project. So you see, a house isn't just like a body in theory, it's literally proportioned to a specific human body, creating this perfect personal harmony between the person and their home.
So you might be wondering, how do they keep all these rules straight? Well, they aren't just whispering them down through the generations. They're all recorded in these ancient palm leaf manuscripts called the Ashtakosali, which is basically the sacred building manual for architects and priests.
And believe me, the stakes for following these rules are, well, they're incredibly high. This is not some casual style guide, it's a divine mandate. The Astakasali warns that if you get the measurements or the rituals wrong, you could be inviting total disaster. Things like awful disease, death, poverty, and the loss of the affection of the gods. In this world, harmonious architecture doesn't just look good, it literally creates a harmonious life.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing principles, cosmic, spiritual, human-scaled, but what does it actually look like? Let's take a walk through the design of a typical Balinese family home, which is known as a pekarangan.
So,
Right away, you'll notice a home isn't just one big building. It's a whole walled compound with several different pavilions. See the family temple, the Sangha? It's always up in the most auspicious Kajakangen corner, that's mountain east. Now look down in the less sacred Kelod area, and that's where you'll find the kitchen. And right behind the main entrance, see that little wall? That's an Alling, and it's there to block evil spirits, who are apparently pretty dumb and can only travel in straight lines.
And this is so crucial. Building the house is just as much a ritual as living in it. You don't just start digging. As you can see here, step 1 is to purify the site with offerings to keep the local spirits happy. Step 2, you build the walls to create that sacred space. Then for step 3, the very first post is always put up in that sacred Kaja Kingin corner. Finally, all the other posts are added in a clockwise direction to follow the sacred flow of energy.
Now what's so cool about this system is that it's totally scalable. The same architectural grammar, this cosmic blueprint, doesn't just apply to regular homes. It scales all the way up, expressing social status and ultimately marking the doorway to the most sacred spaces on the whole island.
So a nobleman's compound uses the same principles, but with key differences that basically signal their rank. For instance, only members of the aristocracy are allowed to build a Baal Gire. That's a grand 12-post pavilion with a sharply pointed roof. That roof is a huge symbol of sacredness and status, and it's totally forbidden for commoners.
And then you get to the royal palaces, the Puri, and they just take this to a whole other level. They expand that basic grid into this massive complex of interconnected courtyards, each with its own function. It basically transforms the home compound into a physical map of the entire kingdom.
And this brings us to the ultimate threshold. The most iconic feature of Balinese architecture has got to be the Candi Bentar, the split gateway. And that's not just a fancy gate, it's a profound symbol. It represents the mythical Mount Meru, the center of the Hindu universe, split perfectly in two. So when you walk through it, you're doing something really powerful. You are physically leaving our profane human world and stepping into the sacred realm of the temple.
So, from a universe being reflected in a single roof, to a spiritual compass aligning an entire village, to a house being measured by its owner's own body, Balinese architecture is this complete, living system. It's the physical manifestation of a deep, deep belief in cosmic harmony. It holds up a mirror to their entire worldview. And that leaves us with a pretty provocative thought, doesn't it? What does the architecture we build every day say about us?